hills and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance that's bit in his eye. Well, they gave me bars, but I can see between to a dusty yard and a long gone green. They call that freedom, if you know what I mean. And I dry my sorrows, but the whiskey's gone. I'm sober.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to fuck's sake, Craig. welcome to Shortbangers. I'm Matty. I'm joined tonight by a monkey. Craig, how you doing?
I am fine.
Aye, that was good. Picked just the exact moment to fuck up the intro. Super. But why not start the way we're meant to go on? Episode 36. Also got John. How are you doing, John?
I'm good. I just managed to make Craig laugh. I think when you said everyone's straight faces, I stood to attention.
What your choosers doing? And we've got Kaiser Soze on as well from off of Quick Bang. Kaiser, how you doing?
Really good. Thanks for having me on, guys.
No worries. Thanks for joining. Kaiser's kind of getting eased in gently to take over for John when he goes on paternity leave. And John, Colin sent us a video for you, Roy Keane, talking about one of his players going on paternity leave. And what did he say?
I think he said as long as he's no breastfeeding, he'll be fine.
Aye. So right, we expect you back quick then.
Aye, I'll try.
Right, we better get some questions in then. So first question comes from Matt Reedy. He asks, how do fish have sex? Does anybody get an actual answer to that?
I know how one particular type of fish has sex because I happened to watch Country File last Sunday morning. It was Graylings in Derbyshire. The males vibrate next to the females who lay their eggs and are fertilised at the same time.
That was on daytime, was it?
What was that, Kaiser?
I thought it was like trying to jet wash a bag of marbles or something.
Aye.
I don't know how they do it, but I reckon.
Craig, you must have seen it in your Navy days.
Nah,
Peeking out the window of the sub.
I reckon they're kinky little fuckers, like just love it. Seen the amount of eggs that they spread and all that? At it.
Ken, what's minging? Have you ever seen a fish shiting? Like if you have a goldfish or that, and you see it's like a wee trailing jobby coming out it, it's minging.
Aye. I heard an urban legend that Navy men, when they're at sea and they're feeling a bit lonely, that they use fish for comfort. Is that true?
Aye, John. We take fish with us. Where'd you hear that from?
To be honest,
we're the same as anybody else. Fleshlight.
How would you seduce a fish?
Just vibrate
I
next
shot
to
in the
it.
heat with a big baton.
Wink your gills.
Right, Longbangers doing the slope. Loyal said, right, you've got a choice. Pick your leg hair off one by one and eat them, or have sex with Ambudge. Right, we were talking about this before the show. We're going to draw a line under the Ambudge stuff. It's too much. It's misogynistic and it's no us. So all us would rather pick our leg hair off, and then we'll move on and say no more about it. Alex, Fatus Prickus said, is it possible to be in love with anything more than Matty is in love with his air fryer? I am not convinced, but do you love anything more than I love my air fryer? I haven't given it a thought. This is a worry, by the way. Aye, this is a fucking worry. That should not require any thought at all. You should be.
I don't think I'll put in it that much, Matty. That's it. Aye, Hibs, but that's coming second to you in your air fryer.
Yeah, I did these chicken select type things for Tesco and some skin on fries for my dinner tonight, and it was fucking superb. I made
They just whacked them on at the same time.
Aye, incredible! It was so good.
What's the make and model that you've got running there?
Oh, right, it's a tower. I don't know the model, but if you look at it on Amazon, it's the one on the picture. It's got a whole roast chicken in the bottom of it, like on a rotisserie.
It's the one with all the Matty reviews underneath it.
It's just a mashed keyboard.
Just pictures of you in your pants.
Just
fucking chicken select in your face.
But I've not had anything in it that's not come out amazing. Even like a bit of steak in that, it's fucking superb in it. Is it honestly the best thing I've bought since my Xbox, the Series X?
Which do you think is greater, your love for your air fryer or Alan McGregor's fondness for Rage?
Rage. Aye, the only thing that would, if somebody chored my air fryer, I'd maybe get to reach those McGregor levels for a moment.
He's got that sustained level, doesn't he?
Aye, that's it. Yeah, I could never sustain it.
You never go Phil McGregor.
No. If air fryer, imagine catching somebody just like kind of climbing through the window and they're about to reach for it. Yeah, bastard. A knife racks beside it, so I'd have to make sure I look for the knives before the person clocked it, and then their hands would be coming clean fucking off, and I'd be air frying them and eating them right in front of the prick. Right. Next question, Wilkes. You're on a long card journey and get to pick 4 celebs, alive or dead. Who are you taking and why? Kaiser, we'll start with you. 4 celebrities to join you on a car journey, and I take it the dead ones aren't still dead when you're in the motor. You're bringing them back to life, and they're no weird
Depends what you're into.
Zombie celebrities. They're like as if they were proper alive before they died.
I'd go for Tom Hanks and the character of Forrest Gump to tell you decent stories. Adam Sandler is Happy Gilmore. So when you pull out, it can smash balls at passing cars. Liam Neeson, just to threaten anybody that cuts you up, or just to generally shout abuse at folk out the window. And Mila Kunis, just because it's Mila Kunis.
Do you think, Craig?
Yeah. Hunter S. Thompson and Johnny Depp. Just for the drugs, really. Who else? 2 more. I'd probably have Big Yogi Hughes, just because there's something about his voice that tickles me, eh? Like when he talks and that, and I just ping him a wee football question and that and listen to him and giggle away in the front. And the last person, who would it be? I don't know, a fat Dan Aykroyd. Just to see.
Is that not just Dan Aykroyd?
Aye.
Yeah, but I thought he lost a bit of weight. John, you're on a weight loss thing at the moment, eh? Don't be fucking knocking fat people, eh? Like, you got a wee bit touchy when I mentioned weight the other day. Dan Aykroyd, you know what I mean? He's on the road to recovery. In fact, is he dead?
I think
No,
is Dan Aykroyd dead?
No, he's not dead.
Good. Well, it doesn't matter for this question anyway, because I can bring them back, can't I?
Aye, that's it.
They will only be listening to this. Oh, well, he might be, but
they'll definitely be fat if he's dead anyway, right? John, who are you for?
Joe Cocker, because I can't remember the name of the boy that was in Gladiator who was a bit of a pisshead.
Reed. What was
Ollie Reed? Ollie Reed, aye.
Aye.
So, aye. Well, Joe Cocker looks the same, and I think he bevies the same. Dennis Bergkamp, just because it's Dennis Bergkamp. Leslie Nielsen, because I think he would bring some comic relief, and Archbishop Desmond Tutu.
Was that 4 or did you pick 3?
4.
4. Right, I'll take any 4 of the Mister men. Just fucking any 4 of them, because you're gonna have a bit of fucking banter with them, aren't you? On the way down the road. So
after last week, it sounds like you're out for a dodgy afternoon with Mr. Tickle.
keep you awake, wouldn't it, when you're driving down the road? You can imagine the car. Let him drive for a wee bit.
Show me on the Mr. Men book where he touched you, Matthew.
show me on the no, Mr. Square.
Charlie says, "What's your favourite song of all time?" Who wants to take that in first?
Sunshine on Leaf all day long.
That's a good shout. John?
Do you know the song in Airplane that goes, as I travelled the banks of the rivers of Jordan?
No, sing it.
I can't. Tell you what, I'll post a link to the video for YouTube.
Is that when she's on the guitar?
You singing it?
Aye, it's when she's on the guitar. If we could get Craig to play guitar, I would sing along.
Craig, what about you?
Please didn't have a guitar down in Portsmouth with you.
Ah.
I can find one. Do you know what? I don't know. Fucking Cotton Eye Joe.
What?
Don't know. It's just like a question, man.
Cotton Eye Joe.
It's class, eh? It's class. That comes on in a pub, and there's not one person dripping, eh? They're like, oh, fuck, aye.
That's like S Club, eh? There ain't no part like an S Club party. Everything's up for that.
Same on it. Guilty pleasures.
Rock and Roll Star Oasis, that's my one. Great tune. Alex, is there any actual point in moths existing, or should they just fuck off altogether? Now, is anybody a fan of a moth? Shaking your head doesn't work. For folk listening, there's a few shakes of heads there.
What was the question?
Is there an actual point in moths existing, or should they just fuck off altogether?
There has to be some reason for them existing. Like nothing exists for no purpose on this planet except maybe
Jambos.
Zibby the clown that played for Hertz. Zibby the clown that played for Hibs.
Oh, Christ.
So, what's the difference between a moth and a butterfly?
I think moths
Butterflies are
are like the
caterpillars,
goth butterflies.
They're not the white, they're no moths. They're like anti-goths.
And why do they fucking love light so much? Like to the point where they'll burn themselves half to death.
Stupid
Or
wee
to death.
bastards. They're a step up for Daddy Longlegs. I would say I mind a moth less than I mind a Daddy Longlegs, because at least a moth can fucking fly properly, not just that bounce about the place that a Daddy Longlegs does.
Go and act out for us.
What the fuck?
I have a daddy longlegs moves. Fuck off! You made me do Callum Davidson's voice on Monday.
I did. So, Daddy Longlegs is all like that, innit? Like, fucking, oh, look at me, I can't fucking fly. Aye. And then they just stop dead on the moth for a wee while, just until you're about to twat them with a newspaper, and then they decide that's then they're going to fucking bounce about again. Moths, I have never been a fan of moths, never liked them. Didn't see the point in them at all.
Did they eat your clothes?
Yeah. Well, they eat tiny bits of your clothes. So,
What if instead of eating them, they're actually just taking away wee bits of everyone's clothes so they can make a super moth?
I don't know how likely that is, John, if I'm honest with you.
Longbangers Hibs podcast discusses mothballing moths.
Aye. get them to fuck. All right. Strong Opinion Hibs, guys, Strong Opinion Hibs ask, what was your most favourite subject at school? And you can't have Reggie. Kaiser, what was your favourite subject at school?
Mine's was craft and design technology, because the teacher was pissed constantly, and because he was so inebriated when he wasn't sleeping or mumbling, we just used to basically grab each other's notepads, get them in the bandsaw, the pillar drills and stuff like that. And it was brilliant. It was just top class. People's good jackets and that just getting cut right in half. What a hour and a half of your life that was. And I honestly wish if I could go back to any time in my life, it would be that one, just to bandsaw somebody's jaw again. But you've got to grow up, huh?
Craig, what about you?
You know what? I was going to say tech, not because my teacher was also an alky, but because my mate once took a set of snips and kind of, I don't know why he done it, but jokingly put it up to his nipple, like, wait, I'm going to cut my nipple off. And something wee Ned just ran up and snipped him and cut his nipple off.
Ah, Jesus Christ. So when you use the phrase snips,
Yeah.
do you mean scissors?
No, like
The tin snips.
wire cutters.
Oh, right.
Or something like that.
I thought you'd had an incredibly camp name for scissors there that you just introduced to the podcast, and I was going to ridicule you for it.
But no, I'm going to actually go with home ec. Because you just got to fucking cook shite, didn't you? Like, we spent an hour learning how to boil eggs.
What was the best thing you cooked at home ec?
Well, good shout. I think we done like a what do you call it? John had it the other day.
Herpes.
There's plenty of that cooking up. No, was it sticky toffee pudding?
Oh, aye.
Boy.
I done one of them, mint. But aye, home ec, and plus all the buds took home ec, didn't they?
What about you, John?
It feels a wee bit anticlimactic now after Kaiser Soze and Craig's fucking nipple and jackets getting ripped off stories. Geography. Really enjoyed it.
Aye, that is anticlimactic to be fair.
Have you got any funny stories for school, Matty?
Oh, fuck
Like,
it. Aye.
Bodily injuries or
Tons of them. So I think pretty much my first day at school, we were in science, and we had a science teacher called Mr. Muir, who I think did chemistry, and he was fucking showing off. You know, he had the wee gas taps on the table, so he fills up a balloon with gas, and then lights a splint for the Bunsen burner, holds it under the balloon. Obviously, it kind of make a wee mini fireball. But I think he'd underestimated how much gas he'd put in the fucking balloon. So he set his arm hair on fire. And he's fuck like that. And obviously, primary school, you never hear a teacher swear. So when you go up to high school, this is like a new experience for you. So that was it. Modern studies was my favourite subject. And that was because our teacher, if he couldn't be asked doing anything, but the class would just stick on Boys in the Hood. So I reckon by the time I'd left school, I'd seen Boys in the Hood upwards of 20, 25 times. Quality, good movie. I still remember it all, again, almost word for word. Because what we did today. His name was Mr. Pratt. He was a really good teacher. And Colin, that's going to come on Longbangers on Monday, and it comes on Quick Bang sometimes. We had this maths teacher called Mr. Matthews, who looked like Oleg Kuznetsov. Do you remember him that played for Rangers? He looked like him, and he also looked a bit like the guy from off of Danger Mouse, Finger Mouse, if I remember right. Which, by the way, how the fuck do you get a show about a paper mouse on your finger commissioned? Like, how shite was telly back in the day that made it onto a... Do you remember Finger Mouse? Do you ever see it?
aye, just about.
Like, it's on YouTube. You think, fucking hell, you could put any old shite on the telly back in the day. Anyway, he had Mr. Matthew had this habit of he would say things like, "Oh, we'll go to our factorising expert, Mr. Fairney, at the front," and then he'd point like fucking at whoever he was asking the question of. And so he picked on me one day, and I was fucking miles away, like in a wee daydream. And so Colin, who was sitting next to me, obviously went to help me out, and he whispered the answer to me, which he said was pie. So I answered pie, and obviously that wasn't the fucking answer. That wasn't anything to do with it. It was like an early forerunner to Craig's Pat Fenlon answer. And everybody in the class is just fucking, obviously they're all laughing, and I'm like, right, I've made a right cunt of that. Colin's sitting there rubbing his hands, pitching himself laughing. I liked school. Like I feel like the first couple of years, but the last few years at school were a good crack. Modern studies was my favourite subject. Anyway, right. Longbangers Stan account. Hello. Asked what would make Longbangers the best Hibs podcast. And if we talked about Hibs every now and again,
4 different hosts.
Different hosts. Aye, better hosts. Made it a bit funnier.
Better budget.
Aye, better budget. Took a bit of fucking time over it. How John? How did we go about?
Finger puppets.
We need finger mouse on.
Do you know what I was going to suggest actually was, you know how we sometimes get people asking us to explain what's happening in a picture and you hold it up to the screen
and you can't see it.
And no one can fucking see it. Can we try and work out how to install an image into Zoom? Like that must be a thing. It must be a feature that's available so that everyone can see what we're talking about.
That's a good shout, by the way. If anybody knows how to do that, give us a shout.
I mean, I don't know how to do these things, but I have good ideas.
Right. What else? Obviously, I've gone to the studio at Easter Road to improve things. Got a wee bit of Hibs background. That's helped. Craig's
being able to see everyone's face. Yeah. Kaiser.
Craig's hidden his. Oh, you're not at home, Craig, are you? I see you've hidden your giraffe.
No, I'm back down south. I've inherited like a dodgy couch.
I was going to say, is that Navy issue?
That's been
Right.
sat there since about 1975 and is probably full of DNA. So I'm staying well clear.
Right, so I don't know if it's possible. Like, if you look at who the front runners are in the Hibs podcast, I don't care if we'll ever have much of a chance of catching them, Job.
Can't even get invited to a fucking press conference.
We can't.
We can't, because look at the questions we're being asked. Imagine the questions we'd asked.
We just would not be trusted.
Hi there, Jack. How many turkey dinosaurs can you fit in your mouth at once?
Right, Hibs Alan said, with Marciano being in goal for both teams, who would win if it was 10 Martin Boyles against 10 Alex Gogic's, and why?
10 Martin Boyles, because Alex Gogic can't pass forward.
By the way, Gogic's forward passing is underrated. I'll stick up for him here.
Oh, yes.
It is getting better. Do you know what? It is getting better. Right, I'll renounce that slightly, but it was rubbish enough to say that.
Who's getting booked first? Boyle for diving or Gogic for booting him?
Probably Boyle for diving, even though Gogic just wiped
Has
him
booted
out.
him. Aye.
To be fair though, if you came up against 10 Martin Boyles, put yourself in one of your 10 Alex Gogic shoes. If he beat you, you'd probably be like, fair one, he's got the pace on me and he's got a bit of trickery in that, like, you know. Put yourself in Martin Boyle's shoes. You would not want to be standing up against 10 Alex Gogic shoes, would you? Not a chance. I'd be like,
Nah.
"Fuck this."
You're not even chancing a dribble, are you? Like, just fucking
Nah.
pass it. Lay off, quick, get it.
Fuck that. I'll take the 3-0 defeat.
There's something quite intimidating about a guy that looks like Alex Gogic that runs about the pitch, like, and he looks like he doesn't have any shin pads on. That's a man that says, "I don't give a fuck about my shins.
Aye.
I'm going to fuck you up."
Well, he sees the photos he was posting on Twitter and that before he signed for Hibs, and he was like standing in front of a punch bag, just like absolutely fucking ripped.
It was
That's
like a Rocky montage.
Aye.
Aye.
That's somebody who's very, very aware of what fucking reputation they want to have. Shaved head, all the rest of it. So, I think Gogic is winning that one.
Aye.
Aye. Right, Ricky says, if your eyes were a screen to what's going on in your brain, how much trouble would you be in?
I'm in
don't know.
trouble right now thinking about that.
Aye, you could see. There's an episode of The Simpsons where there's a cutaway into his brain and it's like a bear in a wee clown car. That's what I was imagining going on in your head there, Craig.
Monkey and the symbols.
Yeah, ting, ting, ting. I think I'd still be married. I think Jamie would just out. Day one probably.
Who are you thinking about?
Well, just any thoughts, George. Think of some of the stuff that we message on WhatsApp, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like a
Shut up.
messaging. It's a messaging system. It's on your phone. But that's not important just now.
Aye, we do talk some shit.
Aye, right, you imagine, because all of those things have to have formed as a thought at some point. So if your eyes betrayed you by showing what that thought was,
Do you mean like a projector? Or as if, like
Oh,
a
oh,
sort
like
of,
an
like the wee
OHP.
clicker thing?
OHP, like a
aye, like so basically your eyes were wee TV screens for anybody else. So when they looked at you, instead of seeing your eyeballs and your pupils, they'd see what your thoughts were, as
Oh,
if
aye,
they were on a
would be
wee
fucked,
wee TV screen.
all
See
I
your
can think
thoughts.
of is the David Gray header.
Just a replay. Parents like you're sitting here and your kids be dead. This they just look at you and it's like Liam Henderson to deliver.
I was still talking about our WhatsApp group, but no comment.
Kaiser,
See, yeah.
you there, Kaiser?
What was that?
What about you? How much trouble would you be in?
Oh, I think, it would probably just be the missus. Just me me projecting the word "shut the fuck up" because you can't actually say that out loud without getting a fucking 2-hit combo. So, I think that would be like my biggest fear. Aye, definitely death by Dyson or something like that.
Aye, these relationships would be over. It'd just be like marriage wouldn't be a thing if that happened. It just would be, unless there was a general acceptance that it goes both ways. Do you know, like you just have to accept that sometimes your mind's going to be elsewhere when important things are happening to you, and you should be paying attention.
I've got a wee tip
what?
for you. See, anytime your wife asks you something and you hear her voice, but you don't hear what it is that she said. In fact, this works for anyone, not just your wife.
Every day.
Say to them, "What do you mean?" And it makes them repeat what they said. And it appears as if you've been listening the entire time and you just want them to kind of clarify the details a bit further. Honestly, it's a better. Try it next time you can.
I normally say aye or I know.
Just a smile and nod.
I say aye. I know. That's mad. Alex's next question: would you rather be bursting for a shite or bursting for a piss while stuck in gridlock traffic? If you had to pick one, soiling yourself isn't an option because you've got grey cotton joggers on. Everyone would know.
I'm going to say bursting for a shite, and I'll tell you why. Years ago, I walked the West Highland Way with my adopted dad, and I was bursting for a shite for about 7 miles, but I'd been walking 21 miles that day. And I eventually had to drop trow and squat behind a log. And I had baby wipes with me. Anytime you're out for a big walk, take baby wipes and eat Imodium before you set off. But there's a number of different stages that you go through when you're bursting for a shite. And I think the last one before your body forcibly ejects the tole for your body, and it's liquid. And there's a long period before that your body's going to eject that jobby. With pee, it's not quite so, you didn't get quite so many stages. You fill up, and you fill up, and you fill up, and then you just have to go.
Aye.
You get like a wee sort of pre-jobby warning before you have the jobby. So definitely jobby.
I saw a thing on, that's what I was watching, TV. They were talking about, you've got your sphincter, which obviously helps you push out the jobby and hold them in. Apparently, there's an inner sphincter as well, which can tell if it's a fart or a shite. And that's how you came in. It's safe. It's like that's that particular part of your body's job is to tell your other sphincter if it's a shite or a fart that's coming. That's a good bit of information for you, isn't it?
What a great nugget of information.
But the thing is, how you know you've got that? Next time you've got a fart coming, you will go, I know why I know that.
Engage inner sphincter.
And if it goes wrong, you can who to blame. Hey, Craig, what would you rather have a bursting for a pee or a poo?
I'd probably go shite as well, to be fair.
It's easier to have it in, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
And you had it in for longer. What about you, Kaiser?
I'm saying pee. Well, I can see if you're busting for a pee, like it's like that nervy, like toothache pain that you get, and it's I don't know. I think you can hold a job in longer than you can hold a pee in. So, I would go for pee definitely because that's unbearable. See, when you're right at that bit, where you're like, I'm going to piss myself. What did I do? And grey joggies on as well. That's I'm going to go for pee.
Right. Have you ever come close to pissing yourself in your car? And if so, how did you get out of the situation?
By opening the door.
Just peeing out the door?
No, to be fair, I get it quite regularly because I do the long drive, don't I? Always have a bottle of Lucozade, or what's the other one? Empty bottle of Lucozade, or the empty bottle of Oasis on standby.
So you drink it, oh fuck, finish it, I need a piss.
Always keep one in the door, and then if you take a piss in the car whilst moving, always do it on the slow lane, because if you're doing it in like the middle of that and you're overtaking or like lorries, just make sure that you kind of get trucks driving past you because they can see right into you, and they're dodgy bastards. So piss in a bottle.
I know. I worked beside a guy at the bank who came in while it was like snowing for ages, and the roads were shite, and he was stuck coming in for Falkirk, I think. And he had to piss into a coffee cup, and then he used the cup of piss to clear his window or a dirt in that was going because his scooters had frozen. So that's like sort of Bear Grylls levels, isn't it? It's survival. It's true story that.
I probably
What I
want
want to know though was
quite
he
well.
driving whilst he was doing the windows, or did he get out?
Hey, no, I was
do
stuck
the
in
windows?
traffic. Stuck in traffic.
Aye,
So
because I've tried to I've had the same when I've been driving up the line on the motorway and that, and the scooters have gone and it's like the kind of that wintry when you get all the shite up on the windscreen. And if you've ever tried to put your hand out at speed and pour a bottle of water onto what you think would be an easy thing, like the front of the windscreen, it doesn't happen. It comes flying back into your motorway. So I was just imagining him pouring his hot piss back into his face.
I'm just imagining someone stuck in traffic going, "Look, mummy, there's a man throwing piss at his windscreen."
it's either a piss or a really badly made latte. Aye. I always worry, see, like if you think if you're stuck in traffic and it's like that, it used to be bad if there was an accident on the bridge or whatever, you'd be stuck in the traffic. And I get in the car, and as soon as I get in the car, it doesn't matter where I'm going, I need a piss. That just happens. And so be coming back from work, and I start thinking, like, traffic has been gridlocked for that long. I could in theory just jump out the motor, go to the side of the road, into like behind the verge, piss, and then get back in. But I ken my luck is such that would be the moment where the traffic cleared, and you'd come back, and it'd be the police sat behind your car. What you've been doing, everybody else is scooting past you, and you'd have to try and explain how you thought it was all right to go for a pish and leave your car abandoned.
I always
Absolutely.
go.
You've got cars
Absolutely.
that can drive themselves now, like near enough,
Oh.
and they've still not got a car that can let you go for a piss. Like, what's going on with that?
Could you
That's-
convert a driver's seat into like a commode?
Well, that's by the
Aye.
way. We could.
Or like a wee vacuum or something.
Aye, like a wee spaceship Tesla toilet.
see, like,
They-
see if
They
you
might
did
not
that.
always get used for that purpose, but hey ho, you've got the option.
If you did that, right, you had it where if you were just would you drive for your trousers with your ankles? just everybody just getting into their car, just get ready, shuffling their jeans to the
Your
Would you still get
missus
a-
got you
still
better
get a
not be
heated
doing that
seat
again.
option?
That's a
Did
great
you still
idea.
get a heated seat option?
Oh.
Aye.
I was thinking to begin with, like, imagine the smell of hot piss in your motor. Like if you were to hit like a wee pothole or something, piss everywhere. But then I thought heated seats always good. Doesn't matter if it's the height of summer. You sit down in a warm seat, it's just nice on your back. Brilliant.
Aye. Right.
Actually, I've got a Hibs related piss story before we move on. It's not really the story, it's more of a question. But have you ever been in a situation where you've really needed a piss, but you've been told you can't go? Like you're out with, like, say when you're younger, you're out with your parents or that, and your dad's like, no here, no now. Because when I was at the it was the Hibs Rangers penalties, what do you call it, semi-final.
Aye.
CIS
won.
Cup.
Yeah.
And I was only young, but my brother, who I think he's about 4 years younger than me, Tiny sat through the whole game. He went to penalties and he stood there to my dad and he's like, I need to go for a pee, Daddy. And my dad turned around and said, no, we're waiting for the penalties. So he made my brother stand there and watch it. So, like, we have like the pure happy memories about the game and all that. My brother, all I can remember is standing there almost greeting because he's like, I need a piss. My dad's like, no, penals. And he was too young to go himself, like, you know what I mean? So he could have just let him, like, disappear. Aye, that's dedication to Hibs. So.
It's bad to see when you're at work on these Zoom meetings and you need, because it's different. See when you're in the office, I think why it would be different. But if you were in the office and just meeting folk and you need the toilet, you just say, "Excuse me, a wee minute, I'm just going to go," and away you go. But because of like the etiquette and everything, like you'd have to interrupt somebody talking, tell them, "Go stop talking for a minute." Hey, everybody, I'm going for a piss.
Matty,
What?
do you know that? Do you know that Zoom does this?
Aye. The piss screen.
Just do it.
Aye, but you could just do that. One idea is, that's my door. Just went. I've got a delivery. I'll be back in 2 minutes,
Aye,
guys.
I've done that before. Somebody at the door.
I tell folk I'm making a delivery.
Right, Well, we'll move on. Raymond was the next question. Fucking phone's locked here. We go right. Serious one for a change. He said safe standing in the famous five lower. Not if, but when is surely the question. So, his first safe standing.
Absolutely. Get it in now.
Do you think they should just call it standing? Like, surely, like they're not going. They're just going to say, right, we're going to sanction some unsafe standing, and just get fucking folk with uneven legs in and that. Do you know?
Just rebuild the old East Terracing and the famous five.
We've made it all wobbly and that. Put some holes and mirrors about the place. So you didn't care what you're
Not that
walking.
we're discriminating against anybody with like short and long leg and all that.
Just for the purposes of terracing, bro. Unless it's like perfectly heighted for the height of the step. So they can just step like one on one step and one on the step below.
Would that be two seats though?
There's a point. Safe standing, I think it's a good idea. But
100%. But to take it for about 2 seconds to a serious note, is now the time to do it with the financial situations with COVID and all that? I mean, I don't really know much about AGMs and all that recently and what's happened with COVID. I've been busy, I've been away. But I would take it that the club haven't got the expected revenue, or like they've taken a wee bit of a hit, even though we're safe.
To take it off your serious point for a second, Craig, I know that Ron Gordon listens, and I know that he's heading up a Scottish football task group for trying to raise profile and revenue in the game or whatnot. So definitely safe standing at all the grounds. Get it in.
Oh, 100%. No, 100%. I want it. Absolutely want it. I think it's the way ahead. But I don't know. Hang on a minute. Did you just say Ron listens?
Oh, of course.
Absolutely.
By the way, you would be fucking amazed at the folk who listen to this. Aye, you should. That's really, you think about what you're saying. Sometimes because there have been people who have reached out to me who have said that they've listened, and I have thought, oh fuck. And you go, that's good. Well, it's a long list. It keeps getting added to it as well. And you go, oh right, do you? That's good. And then I think, oh fucking hell.
How am I going to invite you on now?
Aye. See the thing with safe standing in that, right? And this is just because I'm an old bugger now, right? I quite like my seat. Safe standing, I think obviously some folk could enjoy it and that, but see the thought of standing for 90 minutes and getting a sear back in that. I can't stand at a gig now. See, by the end of a gig, I'm like, fuck this, I want to go home, my back's searing and everything. So I quite like going to my seat in the stand and just having a fucking comfy seat, great view of the pitch, nobody banging into me or fucking standing on my toes or fuck all. That's much better for me. So I'm not that fussed for safe standing for me. For the folk who like it, I go ahead and have it.
What makes standing safe, and who determines, and how do they determine whether it's safe or not?
Here's the other thing: the safe standing, they've got wee barriers in that up. Sure, the chairs convert into wee barrier bits. I think, and to me that makes it look more unsafe. It's more stuff to bang into. So,
I think it goes. I don't know. I don't know for definite, but I think it goes back to the Taylor report post Hillsborough and how that recommended all-seater stadia. And I think the whole idea of it being safe might be to get away from the sort of terracing feel. Feel's probably not the right word, but to try and get away from accidents like Hillsborough, for example, while still accommodating people that want to stand. But it'll also be to do with, because I think there's obviously within an all-seater stadium, there's one seat for every person. And I think that still applies for safe standing. It's one person for every seat in a standing area. I think that's what makes it safe. But definitely bring it back. I think, do you know what? I think standing at football grounds is just, it instantly creates a better atmosphere. People are more inclined to sing when they're stood on their feet.
Aye, that's true. And when you score and everything, it's more fun when you're stood up. I mean, that's indisputable. Like
I think the thing with safe standing though is they've got themselves a bit of a predicament where they're going to section off a little bit of, say, the East Stand where the singing section is, for people to stand safely, and people will have season tickets there, or people will buy tickets there. But it will be easily accessible from other parts, and there will be people that just squeeze in because that's where they want to be. And it's the policing of that. Whereas if they'd done something, say, like the lower or the upper, the famous five or something like that, where the whole lower or upper was safe standing.
Aye.
Then you wouldn't have to police it as such, and then
Yeah.
a simple barrier in front. Because the thing with Hillsborough, I mean, we're going quite deep into this, aren't we? But it was all about like the crushing and people weren't able to get out. As long as you've not got a big fence up in front of people, you've got a wee barrier to prevent them falling over. Then surely that's the way.
You
ahead.
control the numbers and that. It's fine.
The whole like all-seater stadium kind of assumes that everyone's going to sit down, but you know what it's like when it's been Easter Road, it's been a big game or whatever. Like everyone's like,
Aye,
not everyone stands, but there's big sections, if not an entire stand of people standing.
Aye.
So it kind of makes a mockery of the whole thing. Well, I don't know.
If you can do it when it's all seated anyway. Anyway, right. Conor McCloskey. Oh, by the way, before we go to the next question. Oh, look at that, disappeared again.
Magic cup. Get your own magic cup. It
Look
disappears.
at that, fucking amazing. Right, if you're listening to this, you'll get what we're talking about here because obviously we're recording this on Zoom. We've got a Longbangers mug. Now this isn't one of the ones that we have put on sale. This was a friend of the show, Jonty, provided a few Longbangers mugs and a stunning mouse mat as well. So it's going to be Longbangers logo on the front and on the back. It says long, short, or quick, bang by name, bang by nature. But if you're watching this, you'll see that when I lift my hand to show you, it disappears into the background. It's like a wee magic cup, and then I bring it back in front of me, and it reappears like fucking Paul Daniels. Look at that, but I'm no deed.
Do you kind of fell out with him on Twitter?
What did you follow up with him about?
I took the piss out of him about.
Was it because you called Wisbit a fucking prick?
It was about. Do you remember there was a brass eye thing about Carla the elephant?
Yeah,
It was
something
about that.
stuck up its own arse or something, wasn't it?
Aye. I'll dig out the tweets and I'll send it.
Superb. Did you watch Brass Eye?
Oh,
No,
well,
just the best bits.
the final episode that got it written off.
Aye.
We'll see.
What about you, Kaiser? You watched Brass Eye back in the day?
No, I can't mind watching it.
Oh man, it was the.
Get yourself onto YouTube.
Aye.
And have
Yeah,
a
watch.
watch of Brass Eye.
I think it might be on
I think
Netflix.
it's episode number 9.
Pedophile one. See, my favourite thing about that, right? So basically, the whole premise was it took the piss out of everybody jumping on bandwagons and that, wasn't it? So mine they did the one about drugs, and they made up a pill like there was things called cake, and it was about this size, and they had Bernard Manning on it to do a campaign against fucking cake. He said, "Look at this. This is the actual size. It kids are swallowing these." And it was about fucking bigger than the size of your head. There was an MP took it to Parliament to try and get it.
Well, they had
criminalised.
They had Lord Alan Coe on there giving it the nonsense and that, didn't they?
Nonsense. Gary Lineker holds up a picture. This is the paedophile one. Gary Lineker holds up a picture. He says, "Look at this picture. It's like a countryside scene." He says, "Look at this blue dot on the hillside. That's a child. If you show this photograph to a paedophile, they'll try to get inside the photograph." And you go, what the fuck? Like, what are you saying? Dr. Fox, he said, a paedophile has more in common genetically with a crab than a normal human being. He said, there's no evidence for that, but it's a fact. It just you're a fucking idiot. What are you talking about? It's genius. I'd heartily recommend anybody to go and watch Brass Eye. It's fucking hilarious. And Paul Daniels doing an appeal for an elephant that had its trunk stuck up its own arse. Amazing. Right, so Conor McCloskey, sorry Conor, we kind of deviated for your question a wee bit there. If two vegans are arguing, is it still classed as a beef?
Did you used to call? I take it. Did any of you smoke or do any of you smoke? Like when you were in school or that?
Aye.
I'm an ex-smoker, aye.
Aye. See, when you used to like twos with your mate or that, I'd leave like a little bit at the end. Would you like use the beef or like leave as the beef?
Do you want gravy with that?
Aye. Because like that's. I mean, was that anything to do with actual meat, or was that just a? Like,
Nah, it's an
Scottish thing?
Americanism, innit? Beef.
Is it?
I think so. It's nobody says that. Like when you were younger, did you ever say, "I've get beef with that guy"?
No,
'cause
you
you'd
never
get
did.
slapped.
So if it was two American vegans having an argument, then is it still a beef?
With Chad Hogan and his pal. Aye, probably.
All right, Kaiser, this is your question next. What's your favourite quote from a film?
Oh, mine is Ron Burgundy. I want to be on you. That's definitely it.
John?
It's, I don't know if it's a quote as such, so I don't know if it's allowed. It's from, I think I talked about it recently, it's for The Shining, where Jack Nicholson sat at the bar and there's an entire party going on behind him in his deserted hotel, and there's a barman in front of him that doesn't exist. And the barman says something to him. I can't remember what it is, but Jack Nicholson replies, "Are you out of your fucking mind?" And I love it.
Well, that's a quote.
It's a line to a film. It's a quote.
Aye.
Is that how quotes work? I thought it was just like
Aye.
memorable lines.
They put it, they hold their fingers up and go.
The Lennon. Craig?
I can't remember what it's called, the movie. It's Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart, and he's going to jail, and he's hired Kevin Hart basically.
Oh, does it Get Tough or something like that?
Get Tough, I think, guys. He's like teaching him how to be tough in that so that he can survive prison. And they're having a little kind of barman and that, and they're slagging each other. And Will Ferrell turns into him and says, "I hope you brought your Costco card because you're about to get dick in bulk." I thought that was funny. That was good.
So I go Airplane with the woman says to him, "Are you nervous?" And he says, "Yes." She says, "Oh, is this your first time?" And he says, "No, I've been nervous lots of times." I love that. And also there's Empire Strikes Back where Han Solo's about to get frozen and carbonite and he's on his way down and Princess Leia shouts to him, she says, "I love you," and he just goes, "I know." But she's like, "What a cunt, what a cool cunt." So, aye, good question, Kaiser. Right, next one. Conor McCluskey again, right. Since everything on your floor would fit in your ceiling, would you rearrange your room or keep it as it is? You'd still walk on the current floor. Everything within the room would be on the ceiling, though. So would effectively like the Twits, if you remember the book, The Twits, where the monkeys and that the birds turned the house upside down for the Twits coming home.
Just be a pain in the arse. You'd have to go and grab fucking chairs and that to get up to everything, wouldn't you? Like,
aye.
Just like imagine trying to get to the fridge or even boiling a kettle. Everything comes with a risk assessment for here on in.
Aye.
It's a bit dodgy.
Imagine doing a risk assessment in the house so you can sit down.
Face planned and all that.
14-page form.
I just be stood there staring longingly up at my little air fryer.
I remembered when I could cook things in you.
And up in the air fryer, you bastard.
You would fuck your neck. Your neck would be knackered after a day of that. Just looking up at all the things that you used to be able to use.
Aye. Think of the floor space you'd have though. What would you do?
It'd be good if you were a break dancer or something, maybe.
Aye. Where are we? Ray, if love is a burning thing and it makes a fiery ring bound by wild desire, does this mean the Man in Black experimented with deep heat lube?
Either that or original source mint shower gel.
Oh, aye, by the way.
That is
refreshing.
disastrous. That should come with a big fuck off label to say keep away from hoop.
Right. So I'm going to put this to you, right? We all know what you're talking about, but you've done it more than once.
Aye. Some people are sadistic that way, though.
I think we've talked about this before, Matt. You quite like it, didn't you?
What? I can't remember us talking about that.
We spoke about this on here. I talking about the ball twinge that you get for original source mint tea tree shower gel or whatever it is. So I was talking about it, the bun. I hate it. Like, doesn't matter how the thing that gets me, I don't understand how it works. Doesn't matter how long you stand under there and how much of the suds you get rid of, and how as soon as you turn that shower off, it's almost instantaneous pain in it.
It's like Neptune blowing at your arse.
Aye.
I don't find the hoop too bad, funnily enough. But balls, oh Jesus. Nah, can't be dealing with that. It's torture.
The Ring of Fire song, what was that all about then? It burns, 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 the Ring of Fire.
Vindaloo or something.
What's they going on about? And I always kind of wondered that song. Good song, obviously, but yeah, you have
Suppose
to
what
kind of
he's-
ask questions
Not
about
quite
it.
Cotton Eye Joe.
No, that's true. It's not quite Cotton Eye Joe. I've just lost my fucking place. Right, where are we? Talk amongst yourself for a second. Right, next question. The words. Serious question. Are you excited at the prospect of becoming an EPL team's feeder club? So this will be Hibs' potential partnership with Brighton.
Exploring a link with Brighton.
Brighton Hove Albion, to give them the full name. It's a shite name. Is it 2 teams?
Well, like 2 teams combined, like Inverness, Caledonian Thistle.
Yeah, Brighton and Hove Albion.
I don't know. I'm sure I've got a relative, like through
sure you
marriage
do.
that works for them. I think he's the match day announcer, or I was.
Right. They've got a seagull problem as well, but they've embraced it. No, like us, at Easter Road, we're like, oh, fucking seagulls. Brighton have made that their whole thing.
I bet Scottish seagulls have got an attitude. Obviously, down there they're polite in that, whereas up here they're gone for you.
Soft seagulls.
Sanitized seagulls.
Excuse me, sir. Can I have some of your £7 pie?
Could I trouble you for a ride?
have you finished with those chips? Are you going to eat them all? It was like, I'm fucking having it.
Aye. Into me.
The words not so serious question is: do you appreciate Cubist paintings, and do you think Alex Gogic does?
What the fuck's a what?
A Cubist painting.
It's like a painting made up of squares. It's like, have you ever seen the like Soviet fucking Russia art? Like the guy with the hammer on the side of the Berlin Wall. Like that's Cubist. But he's from Cyprus, so his paintings are got to be like the Mediterranean, horses running up the beach and that. So he's not got to be into that, is he?
Wouldn't think so. Although it looks like he could pagger a Russian. Russians are hard folk. I think
he'd do Drago. I honestly think he'd do Drago.
Just having a look now on Google Images. Nah, they're shite.
Right, Liam says, can you air fry a sticky bun? Is it legal to do that? We'll be asking.
I was going to say something about cannibalism earlier, and now's maybe an appropriate time to bring it back up.
What question was it that you were going to? Can we guess which question was going to make you
can try? You can try. I can't remember which one it was. It was something. It was definitely. It was obviously something to do with food.
Was it the safe standing one?
Aye. How many safe standers can Matty fit in his air fryer? Can't remember what it was.
All right. Well, there we go. Glad you told that story, John. Right, Alistair Taylor says, after a shower or a bath, do you towel or air dry your chocolate starfish?
Who wants to answer? Who wants to be first? They say that they let it air dry.
I go for it. I go for a good old fashioned floss.
The floss.
What I want to know is if somebody's air drying it, are they like? Are they like lifting their legs up,
fanning air towards it
and holding it, or are they like bent over? Or I don't know, because like if you're standing up normally, you're not letting any air get to it, are you? And then
that's another use for the air dry. The air air fryer you've got, Matty. Just open the door and then that's you.
It doesn't work if the door's open.
If you're sitting down, you're technically toweling it, aren't you? You got to go for the floss, man. Come on.
You have to, aye.
Did you ever, any of you ever watch, what was it, Bang Bang at Reeves and Mortimer?
No.
They did these characters called the Stots, right? So if you YouTube the Stots interview Sting, right? And they put on funny voices and everything, right? It's fucking hilarious. But one of the questions that they ask Sting, they call him Mr. Sting, they say, Mr. Sting, when you're in bed and you get an itchy bum, do you work it out with your finger, or do you put your bum out the window and let the breeze take it away? Which I think is the question that they give him. But it's funny when they do it, obviously. Okay, Oscar Ramage, would you rather fight 100 Alex Gogic-sized elephants or 1 elephant-sized Alex Gogic? Gogic featured heavily the night,
So have elephants.
Aye. Right.
Is that a coincidence?
I'm not having that conversation again.
I know.
I think I'm going to take on the big guy. I'm going to take on the elephant.
Would you? Joe, it's probably the safest option because you'd get a kick in, but it'd only be the one kick in, eh?
Aye, I mean, I've got to think that you're maybe going to be nimble enough to dodge an elephant. As bizarre as that sounds, I feel like it might come at you like the steamroller in the Austin Powers movies.
Go for
About
his
100
uncovered
Alex
shins.
Gogiches with no shin pads coming at you.
Do you think if you ran underneath the elephant-sized Alex Gogic and just give his testes a big flick on their way underneath him, that would be it. Game over. You could. That's probably your tactic to win it.
Here, how big do you reckon an elephant's balls are?
Massive, I would say.
It must have you ever seen a male elephant like with a massive scrotum hanging there?
There was a thing. So I've talked about Top Flight Time Machine before on the podcast, right? Top Flight Time Machine's a fucking genius podcast, but they've got a Facebook group. And one of the things that they do, so they've kind of characterised Frank Lampard as this wee fucking it's like a verb now. You Lampard. Basically, he would object if things weren't done by the fucking rule book, or if like a complaint about planning permission or fucking something like that, or a regulation not being followed. And somebody posted a woman's Lampard in about a trip to the zoo that she'd had because an elephant had a massive erection and her daughter asked what it was, and she was complaining that nobody had taken care of the elephant, as in, done a Rebecca Lewis with it, if you remember that.
Lewis. Oh God, that was the pig, wasn't it?
It was the pig. But she complained to the zoo that nobody had satisfied the elephant, so it was going about with a raging stoner, frightening kids.
Who wanks an elephant? Who would do that job?
You'd have to be incredibly brave, eh?
You get danger
It'll
money for that.
it'll be like some zookeeper on like a gross misconduct warning or something. That's like the last stage of the disciplinary process, right? Get the fucking gloves, mate.
Mr. Tickle, he just doesn't care that he's doing it.
Why would you give him gloves? Like, is that to give the elephant a bit more pleasure?
I don't know. Well, I was just thinking, obviously, I know that your brain should be going there, but you'd want fucking gloves at least. Come on, some variety of PPE and probably like some kind of eye shield as well.
You want a fucking umbrella, like the big yellow waterproof max and everything. You play off.
Big nuclear suit going in. Going in, boys.
TG Willis said, right, what's this a photo of? So, oh, fuck, my fucking phone's disappeared like this.
Please, anyone that's listening to this, fucking watch it.
Go watch it, everyone keeps disappearing. Right, can you see that? What's that inside of?
The wheat field.
The wheat field could be. So it's like a sort of, it looks like I'm inside a massive beehive. I can't what it is. I think it actually answers what it is, because I'm sure I've actually been inside that. So it's not what we were talking about before.
Definitely not me then.
It's it's the inside of a dovecot at Aberdour Castle. I've been in there.
A dovecot?
Aye.
It looks like if Wallace Mercer had a GoPro on in his tomb.
The view from inside. The Cal Chalmers 1875. Who would you most like to ban from Easter Road and why? That Callum Davidson. No. Who would you ban? Yeah,
Andrew
ban anybody.
Dallas.
Andrew DeHallis.
Aye.
Craig.
Oh no! What a great question that is.
Just take your time, think about it.
Well.
Kaiser Susie, while Craig's having a wee think, what about you? Who would you ban?
Do you know, I would ban, and I love Hibs and that, but I would ban the supporters' right that can go to games but only fucking go to derbies and cup finals, they fucking break me. I think they're no... I would ban them. I would ban them for only a year though, just so they can see the error of their ways and they can start going to like fucking Dundee United and Livingston and realise that they should be grateful to be there.
What if instead
I'd like to ban actually would be the ones that give you a funny look when you chuck in a wee swear word. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, some people do take the piss. Some people are like, well over the top, but occasionally, like, you know what I mean? It's a bit of passion in that. It's when you get the all high and mighty that look at you like, tut, 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 fuck off.
You were allowed back to hospitality after that day, were you, Craig? We had fucking hell, who we were playing? I can't remember what game it was. I think so. Colin was sat beside me up in my seat, and there was two boys sitting in the seats behind us. I'm the second back row in the West Upper, and the seats behind us are normally empty. I think the two that are behind us, and there was two boys, late teens, early 20s, that sat behind us, and they talked the biggest load of shite for fucking the word go up to half time, and you could see everybody around about them was getting annoyed with how much shite they were talking. They were fucking loud, shouting at the players. Everyone was fucking terrible. It should have been kind of, if it was a short pass, it should have been a long pass, or the rest of it. And they fucked off at half time. I think we might have been getting beat at half time. And literally, when they never came back for the second half, everybody in the area looked at each other like, thank fuck. It's like just a widespread acknowledgement that we were glad to be shot at these pricks. So I'd ban them because they fucking ruined the night, or at least the first half. And we won the second half as well, so fuck them. Right, Liam.
Or folk that take too long to get their fucking season ticket out. Them, like when there's a queue and you're like, come on, mate, fuck me, you've had a big warm up for this. You're probably walked through Waverley or that. Like, have a wee plan here, mate.
Get yourself sorted.
They said, I don't know if you guys experienced this, but where I stood up in the famous Five Upper in the singing section, there was someone there that would come every home game. They would arrive maybe 5-10 minutes after kickoff. So you were already comfortable. Maybe you were sat down because the initial exchanges in the game have kind of taken place. You've taken your seat or whatever, and you've got to stand up. And then they come in, and then about 10 minutes before half time, they come down the aisle, and it's always the longest way around. They force you to move when they could have gone the other way.
Aye.
They come in late. They go early for pies. They come in about 10 minutes after half time. Like, they miss about 3/4 of the game by the amount of time they're walking about.
What about people that don't move when you're trying to walk past them as well?
Aye, they're the worst.
Oh my fucking god!
I had this in.
I think if you're in a wheelchair, you should be moving. That's no fair.
I had that at the cinema, believe it or not even at the football. I took my wee boy, right? So my wee boy at the time must have been about 3.5, like young. It was when, what was it called? Wreck-It Ralph 2 came out, right? And my wife had suggested, like, oh, he really likes that first movie. I'd came back for work, and she's like, oh, you could take him because we had a younger one and he'd be too small and that to go. I was like, yeah, sweet to take him. So he was all excited and all that. And my wee boy doesn't do great in like social situations and that. Like, he's not really that great with like lots of people and all that. It takes him a wee while to get used to it. So I'd booked the cinema online and I thought I'll get a seat right at the edge so that we don't have to pass anybody. If he gets a wee bit worked up with that, I can take him out and all that sort of thing. All sorted, had it all planned, got in there, got all the big eats, like everything. I was like, right, wee man, your mom's not here. We're spending it. Like, you know what I mean? We got like nachos, we got popcorn, one for him, one for me, large ones, big drinks and all that. Walk into the cinema. And I don't know if you've ever been in one of the ones where it's like a little bit smaller. So there's only one set of stairs.
Aye.
Yeah.
And I've booked the seat right against the fucking wall at the other side, haven't I? And I've turned up, and I've turned up about, the movie's just started. It's not even like people haven't spoke yet. It's just like the kind of intro bit, like, and I'm like, excuse me, and like, this family just wouldn't move. So I had to put all the stuff down on the steps, and then walk my boy to the seat. So I've walked him into the seat, getting in everybody's way. Sat him down and I'm like, right, you just sit there, Scott. It'll be 2 seconds. I'm just going to go and get the food, so don't like get worked up with that, like, So he's sat there on his own thinking, what's going on? and I'm kind of trying to rush back to get the stuff and get back so I'm not in anybody's way. And they were all tutting as I walked past. I mean, no the ones that were right next to us, they were all right, they'd stood up and that, like, you know, but the ones right at the end by the stairs. And it was, honestly, it was a mistake, eh? I picked up the 2 big jugs of juice, and I walked over, fell over, and I chucked about 5 litres of Coke all over this woman. Right? But the thing is I was that angry about the whole situation, eh? She was like looking at me like, oh, and I was like, serves you right. Just walked and sat down. Sat down next to my boy. She was going mad, and the boy sat next to me. I wish I'd got his number at that time. He was like, good on you, what a prick, eh? I was like, I never meant it. I mean, it was a genuine mistake, eh? But karma, fucking get it right up you.
I mean, the way it was some of our stories, it was Rogue One. You seen that Star Wars film?
Aye.
Right.
Aye.
So, in the Rogue One, he's sat there next to a family, right? And right at the end, you know, when Darth Vader comes out, and it's like the smoke-filled room, and you just see the red lightsaber go on, and he just starts leathering everything. My mate just goes, oh, yeah, cunt, like that. The woman next to him gave him pelters. He's like, my lad is here. You mind your language, please? He's like, oh. Sorry about that. Right, Liam asked, does Peruvian Ron deserve a song? If so, what should it be, and can you sing it for us? John, how about you first?
I had the funny voice on Monday.
Is it do Ron, Ron?
You did the daddy long legs, so it's up to Craig or Kaiser.
Aye, right, boys. What's the song for Ron?
It's Do Ron Ron, right? And I can't sing it, right? But I've got a couple of verses, right? So we do Ron Ron Ron, we do Ron Ron. And then it's, yeah, Ron can buy anyone. Yeah, it's good to be third. Yeah, fuck the Hearts. Do Ron Ron Ron, do Ron Ron. That's it.
Right, you're listening to Longbangers, the 8th best podcast. we've been instantly demoted, relegated, whatever, expunged.
That fucking song on the spot.
That's decent. Decent. I shouldn't have been ridiculing it. To be fair, Craig.
You'll hear that in East Stand, guaranteed.
Aye, just you.
No, I can't. No, I can't top that. Nah, I can't top that. I'll leave it at that. I'll do the next stupid thing.
Okay, right. Mike said, "What is something that everybody looks stupid doing?"
Oh, sweet.
Podcasting.
Well, that's one. Daddy Longlegs impressions.
What does everybody look stupid doing?
Masturbating.
Shagging. Nobody looks good shagging.
Nah, no graceful shaggers, eh?
Oh, well, speak for yourself there, John.
I don't, Craig, get the fish out to prove it. Like, let's get some verification here.
Oh dear. I don't know. I think everybody looks stupid when they're like, not when they're running, but see when they go for like a jog, like that kind of half-assed, like, oh, I need to make it to somewhere.
Aye.
So they're like
Running for a bus.
Like I'm running, but I'm not. Aye.
I think when you're trying to remember what the fuck you walked into a room for, I think that's probably that face that you pull when you're doing that.
I tell you one, this is true, right? Walking down a hill, just like a grassy hill, so no steps or anything, but just walking down a relatively steep hill. It's impossible to look because you're fucking worried about falling, and it's like you're not taking normal steps. Nobody looks fucking. Next time you do it, you'll be aware of it as well, right? And if you think you're going to shit yourself, you'll remember. I can tell if it's a shit or a fart because you'll remember that as well. If you see somebody walking down a hill, you'll clock them and you'll go, "Fucking hell, look how stupid they look." And then when you
look like a daddy long legs trying to fly.
What is the scene in a kids' film that has scarred you for life?
At the clown, definitely. Like I watched that, I think my auntie made me watch that when I was like 8 or something, and I was shit feared to go near any drains, anything, like proper traumatised.
That's not a kids' film though, is it?
I was going to say, like, how many years is she doing for child abuse?
Oh, I thought you said horror.
It's either got to be that creepy bitch out of fucking was it
Terrorhawks?
Was it Snow White?
Ah,
Where she gets lured in and has to touch the oh no, fuck that. That, or have you ever seen The Black Cauldron?
No.
That was another Disney film from around about that. Well, I wouldn't say that time. It would probably been 80s, 90s, maybe. I don't know. It's like a Disney film, and how it was ever like made as a kids Disney film. It's terrifying. It's
Was
like
the
that-
Moomins a film?
Nah, it was
Mind the wee cow-looking things.
TV program, but that you could take that though.
I'll
There
take
is-
that rather than at the clown.
Do you remember Terrorhawks
Aye.
and Zelda?
Was it Zelda? Aye.
Zelda would give you the fear. And what was the cartoon with the old couple in the nuclear war? Was it like When the Wind Blows or something like that? You never see that when you were wee. It's basically an old couple and World War III happens and there's a nuclear explosion and it's about fucking what happens to them with all the radiation. That was pretty fucking traumatic. Watership Down with the rabbits.
Aye. Bambi,
Fucking hell.
when Bambi first seen.
I tell you what, E.T. When he dies halfway through the fucking film. What? And
Jesus.
I'm glad I never saw this one when I was a kid, but Up is the saddest fucking cartoon ever made. The start it Up, when you're not prepared for it, it's like a good fucking Pixar or whatever, this will be a good crack. You put it on and then you're like, oh, fucking hell, this is the most depressing thing I've ever seen in all my days. It's absolutely tragic.
Oh, I never watched it.
I tell you what, I was going to say have tissues, and then obviously as soon as you tell somebody to have tissues nearby, you get the, oh, it's a challenging wank, etc. Right? But
Especially when it's called Up.
the Up's sad as anything. Anyway, Mike said his was Fox and the Hound. But I can't mind seeing the Fox and the Hound. So
Disney, by the way, they're at it.
Aye.
he was a big fascist, though, doesn't he? He hated Jews. So there you go. Right, Vancouver Hibs. Why does John always refer to his mum's partner as my stepdad who's younger than me? Too much creepy information said too many times. Vancouver Hibs has misunderstood who your stepdad who's younger than you is, isn't he?
Ken, what's terrible is my adopted dad, who's younger than me, said to me when we were out golfing recently, you need to start answering any question about your parents as if I am your parent. So now I'm picturing my adopted dad, who's younger than me, with my mum, and that scarred me worse than any Disney movie.
But then you chose to call him your adopted dad who's younger than you, so you've put yourself in this situation.
I know. I'm my own worst enemy.
Right, last three questions of the evening. Right, Ryan said, see bog roll that rides up when you wipe and effectively wipes fuck all. How the fuck have the companies no went bust yet? Surely you didn't make that purchase a mistake twice.
That boy needs to buy better quality bog roll.
Well, I think that's the point is he did. Right? So but everybody would have tried it. And then, but the company should go out of business because everybody buys it once and then goes, that's crap, never buying it again. But
Because
somehow
for
they still
every
exist.
bad.
So
don't
I
know,
discovered
but-
at the weekend when I was away that different people wipe their bums differently. There are wipers and there are scrunchers.
How did you get into that conversation? That's how do you wipe your ass, mate?
Hidden cameras.
8 pints. I actually don't know how we got into that subject. I'll need to ask my mate.
No,
But-
I think for every company like that makes shite toilet roll, like your Kimberly Clarks of the world, there's always some big company or big building or whatever, or like that buys all this shite in bulk because it's cheap. So you always get it in like the office toilets or the work toilets and that, and it's all to do with Tory backhanders, and it. It's all people at the top that have the money that want to keep the money. That's what's keeping the toilet rolls.
Aye.
That's
them
the way to
wait
wipe your
around.
arse.
With tracing
Fucking
paper.
Tory.
You
Like the
don't-
tracing paper stuff you got at school. Like I'm sure they'd only put that in to deter kids for shiting at school. That was sadistic janitors who just thought I can't be arsed cleaning that, so we'll put the tracing paper in there. Nobody want to use it. Jobs are good. On.
Are you folders or are you scrubbers? Is what I want to know. Do you
Scrubbers.
fold the paper and wipe, or do you bunch it and scrub?
Fold.
I fold.
Aye,
Fold.
Aye.
Front
I
to
think
back
we've
or
had
back
this
to front.
conversation before as well. I know people that there's a boy that I know at work that we call the Bobcat because he wipes like a bird, and you see, like one of those Bobcat like excavator things. And I've never heard of anybody else that's done that. So I think there's 3 ways of wiping. There's the Bobcat, which is obviously hand in the front. There's sat down, hand behind, and then there's stood up.
Oh, we talked about
wiping.
the sit down and standing up.
Didn't we?
Surely nobody stands up to do it. Like when you're wee and you needed help, and you're a wee kid, you would stand up. But when you're a grown up, you sit down to wipe. Surely.
No, I stand up to do it. 100%.
When you
And the
stand
reason-
up, do you pull like one cheek to the side and
Aye,
get
do you
in
have
with
to-
the other hand?
This is
No, you just have to kind of.
this is unsafe standing again, isn't it? You're like, whoops.
But I'll give you my reasoning though. My reasoning is, one, I feel that I can get to more areas easily, and
The
secondly,
leverage.
which is the more important one, is I don't like putting my hand in the bowl. I know that the majority of ones there's sufficient enough depth in there that your hand's not going to go anywhere near any shite. But I don't like the idea of like going into like a bowl and touching like the rim of the bowl by accident or that. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just like it's a fear, an absolute fear. So nah, fuck that.
What's the bog roll like on a boat?
It's your Kimberly Clark number.
Oh, I know.
It's like fucking 500 grit.
Right. Ricky said, is an election the equivalent to a World Cup for politic nerds?
Fucking Rugby World Cup, maybe.
Ray's asked, right, what is Craig fishing for? Jambo tears, misplaced warhead, or a kludgy outlet valve? And he's put this, oh, you'll not be able to see it. I thought because we saw the last one. This is,
Seen it.
see this little speck here? Show this speck to a paedophile. And they're trying to climb into the photo. No, that's somebody peering over the edge of a submarine. It does, because maybe it's you, Craig, doing a bit of fishing off the boat.
So
Oh,
would it be controversial to say French fish?
French fishing, excellent.
Very current. I like it.
Jersey Shore.
And very last question, I think, goes to Mark Cochran. And I've just lost it. Here we go, right. Why do politicians pick up babies for photo opportunities, and is it acceptable for them to pick up a grown adult? I think it's because somebody's shown them a picture of a baby.
If they could carry me like a baby, then aye. Too right.
Would you be up for it?
Aye.
Well, we can't be you
100%.
photos with politicians, Craig. We'll say no more about that.
Oh God, no. Move on.
Move on. Right, that's us for the night. So we'll be back with what's next, John? Quick bang on Saturday.
Quick bang on Saturday after the game.
Kaiser, are you joining us for that?
Aye.
Good stuff. Right.
Well, aye. I'm not planning on drinking heavily, but I think that all depends on the outcome of the match.
See what happens. Hopefully we've got a good one to talk about.
Happy drinking or sad drinking.
I tell you, it's going to be a
I'll
We'll
be
be at
there
Rush.
Saturday.
We've been nice one. We've been invited to a barbecue Saturday evening, which I think is starting around about 6:30, which isn't ideal for. So it's going to be a very, very quick one. It'll be like quick, get the game over. Hopefully, it doesn't go extra time or penalties. Get the show recorded and then out to get a few beers in.
It's on
Time's
BBC,
kick-off.
innit?
4:30.
4 o'clock. Is it 4:30?
Is it 4 or 4:30? I don't know. Check it now.
Is it on BBC?
No, Premier.
No.
Premier
Premier.
Sports.
Oh,
So you'll need a.
The St Johnson St Mirren's on BBC.
Aye, so I've got 4 o'clock kick-off. So we'll do it 15 minutes after full time is when we normally record. So do that quickly, bash it out, and go and get some scran and some drinks in me. Happy Saturday. Hopefully it's a good one. And then we'll be back on Monday. John, we might have you, we might not on Monday.
We'll see.
We'll
We'll
see
see
what
where I
happens. Aye. Right, so join us then. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.
Dry County line, I pledged upon. Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee.